of all time. But y'all disappointed me earlier. We asked for a dance storm and we got like 5 lines of dance text. Are you guys bored of Cactus Valley? It's just not good enough for you? Is that what it comes down to? I mean, whatever. But regardless, it's tied up now 1-1 here in this best of 3 quarterfinals match. Excuse me. For the Go4StarCraft monthly finals. Spawning in the bottom right corner of the map, it's going to be the blue Zerg player, Snute.
In the top right says the red Zerg. It's Acer's Nerchio.
And I'll try not to take up too much of the screen with this, but going over the brackets real fast, guys. We actually have some interesting upsets, I'll say with a question mark. Down here we have Scandicane. I don't know who this is, but he takes out Tefl, which is kind of impressive. Oh dear, I've moved something. What did I just move? I've broken something. Okay, well, that aside, everything on the screen region is messed up. So, you know what? Instead, just go type ! brackets in chat. Get this pulled up for yourself. Because apparently I did something wrong. And I was going to say, Scandicane beats out Tefl, which is interesting. Because I don't know who Scandicane is, but Tefl's really good. He's playing against BCQD right now. The winner goes on to fight against Hydra in the Southern semifinals. We still don't have a victor of this series or the other, but the winner of Happy versus Kanji will fight the winner of this best of 3 determined on this map. That being said, the potential top 4 semifinalists, oh man, we're going to have a really good finals no matter who it comes down to.
Well, Scandicane is going to be interesting. We have no idea what race he plays or how he plays. But if he beats BCQD, then we're going to have to really watch out for him.
Well, for Snute and Nerchio's sake, we did have a really odd game. We had, I guess, a standardly odd game, so to speak, because well, Roach versus Roach isn't so crazy, and that's really what it boiled down to at the end. The openings were vastly different. You know, you have one player going for a Spire, the other go for a Roach Warren, and that's not so uncommon in ZVZ. I just felt like Snute's Spire didn't really get him that much leeway. He didn't really buy him that much outside a couple Overlord kills.
They did it. It did its job, which is why I feel like there was a time period where no one was really going for that Spire anymore. Maybe they were tired of the time where you could only go Spire, I don't know, but it just didn't seem to be getting you a lot more than a gases opener could, or, you know, just a regular Ling opener could, because it would get you to the same point, just with a slower upgrade depending on what your opponent did. You know, you'd go into the Mutas, and you'd go into Roaches, and then they would have Roaches, then you'd go into Hydras, like blah blah blah. It's not that difficult. But then, you know, if it does its job and more, then that means it gets, like, you know, 5 Overlords, it kicks off Queens, it catches a drone line without a Spore Crawler, and that's where an opening like that is really worth it. And then transitioning is no problem. So, I mean, it's like I didn't mind the opener.
No, I didn't
but
think...
I'm sure Snute was like, maybe not again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. We may not see him go for the Spire again because it just was so ineffective. Maybe even with it game 1, it was super effective. Game 2, it was just kind of bunk. But either way, the maps like Cactus Valley, you've got less airspace to work with. Harass isn't going to be as easy. The map's not so streamlined like Vanai is. There's a lot of ramps and rocks and ways to get around things. So, yeah, you may not even go for that Spire at all.
Yeah. Again, neither player going for the Ling attack either. This is another map where the wall-off is small. You would have to go for a fairly early Ling attack if you're going to try and bust them down before they could get like an emergency wall-off. But I mean, it was always possible. These Ling attacks don't usually really deserve the name of an all-in, because they attack, but then they drone very heavily behind it. And as long as they do okay damage, then it's good enough. We do have some Lings on the way for Snute. He goes back into droning. I guess he wanted to catch a couple of surprise Lings. I don't know. But that's a lot of Lings for Nerchio. Hey, wait a second.
Bailey, go back.
No.
Bailey, please go back. You're needed outside the natural base.
The Overlords of Snute will, of course, see all the Lings coming out. I mean, they're littered all over the common paths, and such a spawn position, too. It's pretty easy to know where the Lings are going to come from, but Snute was droning a little bit. He's trying to get a third. He does need to get a lot more Lings and Banelings to defend against this.
I agree. Sorry guys, we're just waiting for these Banelings to hatch up over here. So he's got about 5 coming in. It's so hard to trade out that 2 for 2. It looks so easy, but it's really not. Not to mention Focus Fire from the Queens plays a big role in these fights, in these sort of trades. And last 2 banelings will miss just a bit. Actually keeps him alive. Nice.
Yeah, this is so far very excellent defense from Snute. As banelings connecting with banelings, they're making sure the lings aren't getting surrounded on the queens, and the queens are doing an excellent job of getting that extra few shots here and there for the banelings.
This is almost where I do think it's a mistake from Nerchio in a small regard, though, because we've seen Snute in this position many times. He's got transfuses he can use here too. I don't think he's in that much danger, despite the way this has been going.
You know, I just went over how these generally do not deserve the title of an all-in, but I think Nerchio is getting close to that point. Like, this third, if it doesn't go down, that's really bad. That is quite bad.
At the same time, we can't keep all the queens here to defend. They have to go back to the main. The natural, nothing blocking that ramp. Given chase, takes out a good chunk with the banelings. Third base still stands. Banelings straight out here towards the front of the base. One of the queens finally goes down. But despite all this, the focus fire of the banelings has been pretty damn good so far. Snoot's got more banelings coming soon. Now, you have to keep in mind, this is an attack that suddenly snowballs often. Like, just all of a sudden, you're behind. But they've been still trading out pretty decently. Snute with more workers, Snute with the extra base, if he keeps that base especially, should come out of this much further ahead of his opponent. But it looks like that third base might just go down.
Ooh, it will. All right, well, that's what Nerchio needed.
Even so, though, I still don't think it's like that bad of a situation. He is still up about 10 workers. He can retake that base.
It's not a bad situation for him. It just means that Nerchio is suddenly like validated in this attack.
Yeah, it's no longer a waste.
Yeah, so that's just what he kind of wanted here. He's not continuing to try and win the game right now. He is getting a layer as well as a lot more of his own drones, but he has so many lines on the side of the map. I guess he figured, why not try? It's not going to work. There are still more queens. He did take out like 3 queens at one point, so even I'm a little surprised he still has enough to defend. But another cancel on that third base. Nerchio did get the much faster layer. He's going for the +1 carapace too. Okay, never mind. He goes for the +1 missile.
He cancels it. I think if this was something where they both knew they were going to sit on banelings for much, much longer, I actually like the carapace quite a bit. But transitioning out of it, the roach attacks obviously can be a little bit more powerful. Now Snute, he goes for the carapace himself. I don't think this is so bad because he's just really... between the queens, between the lings, between the drones, everything he's been doing defensively would benefit from this. That's a bit of a waste of a baneling.
I do wonder if he's going to go into roaches himself, though, with this carapace upgrade.
I would imagine so. You can't exactly play lings for the rest of the game. He does have all the gases, though, so maybe mutas?
Yeah, if you're going to go to mutas, you can stay on lings for quite a while longer, especially if you go for heavy mutas into ling baneling. Which is possible. I mean, you wouldn't usually consider that at this time, so like 12 minutes. Usually they're both on a roaches by now. You know, that's a pretty late layer to begin with. That's what happens when you open up a game like this. So it is going to be a Spire from Snute again. Really wants to try and make this work. But as you point, like the first game, it might have been amazing. We don't know. But that second game, it did not do a whole lot. But maybe this is where he does go into mass muta, not just, 8 mutas in transition.
If he does, I mean, he's got a nice ling lead to start with. Problem is, he's been spending quite a bit of gas and banelings throughout the course of the game, which so far haven't been inefficient, but it does take away from any amount of the mutas he would otherwise have.
Trying to find the drone line with these banelings, comes in the lings instead. Not the greatest. I mean, really, it's not even about killing the drones, I feel. It's about denying the third base, usually.
I kind of feel like Snoot's starting to give up some of these banelings a little bit haphazardly.
Yeah, too. Well, of course, he wants to make sure that Nerchio doesn't have a very powerful counterattack with his own lings and banelings. Like, he only just got that third up, and it's very important to have the third up. So, backing off at that time was probably his best move.
Yeah.
Muta's going to be out now, close enough that if Nerchio decides to attack, then the Mutas will probably be able to save anything. It looks like it might die. I don't know if Nerchio has figured out that it's Mutas either, really. Usually, again, at this point, they would be on lings for so long, you'd be like, oh, of course we're going mutas, but Nerchio himself is still on lings.
That's a lot of banelings still.
Yeah, so it doesn't, it might not be something that he realizes yet. He might just think that Snute was trapped in making more lings like he was, despite trying to get into roaches.
Well, I mean, I think one of the bigger things this whole game
there
is...
we go.
Okay, this gets kind of with the overseer, too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one thing that I think is worth noting though is like Snute, early game he was ahead on drones, mid game he was ahead on drones. As we get to the 15-minute mark, he's still ahead on drones. Now this is sort of getting caught up by Nerchio finally a little bit later down the line. But what this does mean is not only does Nerchio have more resources lost, he's had less resources gained throughout the course of this game. So mutas may or may not be good. We'll find out.
Oh damn! They're getting 4 overlords already.
Carapace upgrades on the mutas.
This probably means he's going to use them. He's going to get more than just 8. I mean, he's already gotten more than 8, but he's going to go mass muta. Usually, carapace upgrade means you're willing to take fights with the mutas, where if you get the flyer, then it's more harassment. That's just an old saying from like 2011, maybe 2010, like pretty old one.
I can kind of see this working if Nerchio doesn't react to this correctly, but at the same time, he's already got a lot of queens. He's got Hydralisks on the way. He's got that really nice transition spore crawlers set up so he can move throughout his own bases. I don't know, Snute.
Well,
like, you're probably gonna take a decent fight in the middle of the map, but if he pushes into Nerchio's natural, I don't think he does too well.
Maybe. There was the whole thing where last game, Nerchio, I think, did go too quickly into Hydras. Like, he has nothing but Hydras to really do anything. They can't protect themselves.
Banelings we use on the spore crawler is kind of cute. Banelings going to use on the queen a little bit ineffective.
Okay, I don't think that was effective.
Yeah, they could be used for the Hydras. I don't think you realized Hydras were out yet.
Well, that's too bad, because I thought that was the whole reason to go for the style, was that I noticed last game there were so many Hydras.
I think one of the key things for him was he was looking to primarily tear down the spore crawlers, which mission accomplished, he did, but it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, and there are still 2 covering the rest of the army. Like, Nerchio was not shy about putting down spore crawlers. So he's going to need more than just these banelings too. Nerchio has a couple of his own that are going to act as the defense for his Hydras.
I'm a little bit curious of the point of not having baneling speed either, for the amount that Sneak's investing into. Oh, he does actually. I take it back. I take it back.
It only finished in the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, sorry, I missed on the production tab. I was gonna say though, because it seemed crazy to have this many banelings and not go down that tech path, but there we go. Lots of links to support this. Lots of banelings. Snoot's on a 4th base, mining gas, mining a couple minerals. Can transfer over the main when that starts getting a little bit low. And Nerchio, while still having a 3rd base, that 3rd base is great for Zerg, but you never want to be that far behind your opponent. Banelings are straight up for banelings though, in the worst, most inefficient manner. Oh god.
He's not left with that many banelings.
Yeah, I don't know about the choice to keep diving the spore crawlers like that, but he's picking off the queens, what little Hydras there are. These link reinforcements might not be that impressive right now, but I kind of just feel like he's got this money to throw at his opponent.
Why not shift your focus? Okay, now he realizes the same thing. Like, okay, the middle of the natural and the 3rd is not working out. He has 3 spore crawlers that he can go back to kill 1.
Is he going to do Broodlords this game?
Possibly. I think that would be a good idea. But if he'd been attacking from this angle, there's only 1 spore crawler that's in the mineral line. You could have gotten the spore crawler that was there, plus a lot of drones with the attacks that Snute had been doing.
I mean, I see it's going one of 2 ways, right? Like, he either gets fungal growth to hold everything in place for the banelings, or he transitions into Broodlords, which I would like to see a lot more. But he's still putting a lot of gas and a lot of money and a lot of investment here into the Mutalisks, so we'll see what this Hive Tech brings with it. I definitely think going for Broodlords could be game ending though, if someone's not ready for it. We've seen Roach Hydra work against it. We've seen Roach Hydra Infester be able to pull out stops where no one else can. But that's a big question, because Nerchio will have to identify this soon enough to know whether that's going to be a problem or not.
Well, Snute is on 5 bases almost. Jeez. But he's been the one that's taken the really, not so great trades. Which is always going to be the case, is he's the one that's, relying on suicidal banelings to win out. There we go. So now he attacks through this area, and he almost gets, the drone line for it. But at the very least, he got the spore crawler, which has been his target every other time he's attacked.
See, at the very least, but look at that worker count, by the way. Very little killed. 1 in 4 workers killed this game, but it's 73 to 53 workers right now. This is kind of crazy.
Snoot's gonna bank quite a lot of money on 5 bases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's got to max out first, but still, even then, that is quite a large chunk of change. So what is this Hive Tech going to lead towards, though? I am really curious. He can buy some time with the mutas. They can dance with the Hydras in the middle of the map, but of course, you don't really want to do that because it's never going to go cost effective. 11 more Ultra, 11 more mutas and an Ultras cavern. That is not what I saw coming.
Not at all. Not at all. He's upgraded the melee attack once. But he hasn't touched anything else on the ground since going for the mutas, really.
So, my thoughts on this are kind of like, Ultras are big Bailings that retain themselves after they explode. You get the Kaiser Blade shot off, boom, lots of damage.
Sure, I guess. I just... I mean, as long as he's able to keep Nerchio off of a 4th base, he wins probably no matter what.
Where's his Overseer? He needs an Overseer with these mutas.
I guess he got lost somewhere.
I feel like they're going to get Widowmined really badly.
Well, it's also just nice to clear up creep, you know? Like, on one hand, it makes your Banelings go faster for frontal engagement, but on the other, it provides faster, you know, movement speed for the Hydras, which is the slowest part of the army. Plus, it gets rid of detection for your opponent.
So just checking around, Snute did pull off a lot of weird mining spots. I do really like the saturation spread well between the bases. It's taking like high drones from the main, transferring to the low drones at the 4th.
Yeah. It's nice. If it was like double harvest model, he'd be like banking, right?
I laugh because I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay, so gives away Lings. I don't love this idea, but they're cheap and disposable units. If he had simply been distracting Nerchio so they could instead attack the 3rd simultaneously, I would have liked that move a lot, actually. But now we're going to have to hinge on what is 20 plus Banelings and Ultras. We'll see if this can carry him through this game or not. Ultras are pretty freaking good.
Well, yeah, and he got up to a lot of Ultras, too. Nerchio did not feel confident attacking before you got like 7 of them. So now I think it's going to go pretty well. A lot of fungal is being used on an okay amount of mutas. A couple of them do disengage. I'm not sure Nerchio has seen the Ultras yet. This might be a surprise.
Yeah, if he had, I think we'd start seeing something more than just roaches coming out, but maybe hoping to kite them all day with a sort of shotgun attack.
Well, there they are now. The Transfuses take the brunt of the Ultraless hits, but oh, the Banelings come in too. Ooh, kind of a slaughter.
Ultras are just kind of... I feel like the Ultras are just like these janitors sweeping up the hallways. Like, exactly. They don't have Kaiser Blades. They have Swiffer Wet Jets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know, like most of the roaches are still alive. They can cause a little bit of havoc, kind of be annoying. At least give time for Nerchio to try and remax. But Snoot's been the one on the better economy that he should be remaxing faster. But then he's also a more expensive unit, so it's kind of this.
Mutas.
Yeah, it's this point where they're both not really getting supply very quickly, like either one of them. They're kind of struggling to get above 150. I think Nerchio's main and natural, must find out. Well, at least his main is.
Natural, not quite so much. Oops, sorry, camera went middle of nowhere. Oh, what the hell was that? 3rd base, I guess he's got some money left for sure, but the main's done for. That's not a mistake.
Yeah. Snute is finally getting higher up in supply quicker. This is, you know, really well spread out economy starting to kick in a gear here.
It's not even that he has 4 or 5 bases so much. I think it was that he got 4 or 5 so quickly. He's really able to just like snowball off of that and stay rolling. Yeah.
Nerchio has the consistent army, right? So if he was able to get a consistent economy and very patiently take base to base, then that's fine. That's how you would play Roach Hydra Infester, and you know, maybe you get to your own tier 3 eventually. But if he commits and trades, then yeah, Nerchio's not going to be in such great shape.
Hey, the bottom of the mini-map, does that look like a bird to you? Like here at the 5th or 3rd, I mean? The mini-map?
Not seeing it.
Oh, he just opened his beak and went quack. Now he's gone.
Okay, I think I was looking too broadly. Not specifically.
Stupid Ultras. Nice fungal. Catches a good chunk of the mutas. The rest sadly can't come help, and this is a little bit scary. Run, Snute, run!
Yeah, tries. Damn. But he's going into, like, Ultras, I mean... Okay, at this point, you can also add in a Greater Spire.
It's not just Ultras, but it's Ultras to +3 with chitinous plating. I mean, these things should tear through everything on the ground. And the biggest part is that the fungal growths don't work on them, but Infested Terrans do in a really cool way. Petraeus is still the only one I've seen really do this actively in recent times, but I guess not so recent. It was like 2 or 3 qualifiers to go for WCS. But he does this really cool thing with his Infestors where he would just like plop them down in like little grid chunks, and they would act as like physical blockers for the Ultras. And obviously the Ultras didn't want to attack them right away because he's trying to get those Hydras.
That's doable in a choke, and there are certainly areas on Cactus Valley that have chokes, but Nerchio being a little bold by pushing out into the biggest flank area basically on Cactus Valley. A lot of the infestors, again, on the front lines, they're the infested Terrans, but they just, they spread out the ultras. No big deal.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stomp, but this was still a pretty good fight, in my opinion. Nerchio took some pretty good damage, but dealt a lot back. A lot of these ultras are barely standing.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to focus fire two of them down.
He was down for like 30 supplies. Did Snute say chew at the end?
Yeah.
Choo choo.
Not like chew your gum, but like choo choo the pain train.